Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. It's Janet and today I'm going to show you cards 1 through 5 of my 10 cards 1 kit video for my monthly hero kit. That's Hero Arts for the month of May. And I'm really super excited about this. This is the first 10 cards 1 kit video I'm doing regarding Hero Arts products. They are not providing me any of these products. I just like the kits. I think a lot of other people do too. So if you like this video, please let me know in the comment section, or at least give me a thumbs up to let me know if I should continue these or not. So what I'm going to do is roll right into it. Now what I did to kind of get started in advance was I took every one of these stamps, which in the kit are all silhouette stamps and a few sentiments, but I stamped and heat embossed them in black so that they're ready to go and I could use them in the cards that I'm making. Now for the first card, I start off by taking a piece of cherry red cardstock and embossing it using a Tim Holtz folder. I'm sorry I don't know the name of this folder, it's not on it. And it came with the Bird Talk stamp and die set, if that helps people figure out where it came from. But what I'm doing is applying that red on a piece of blue cardstock, and this is a A2 size card that folds at the top. And now you're seeing the die cut that I made with the included die cut frame, and I just cut off the swing that comes with the die cut, and now I'm going to apply it on this background paper, which is a cheery paper of blue with clouds that have expressions on them. I just like that paper. Thought it'd be great for the background to this girl who is swinging and having a great time. So I used at this point one of the embossed images that I had embossed and cut earlier, and I'm putting a piece of foam tape just on the part where the swing is, and then that way she will look a little bit 3D here because she's going to be sticking out further as if she's swinging out of the picture. And then I'm going to apply that whole panel just flat on top of my embossed panel here, and that sets the stage for the main part of the kit. Now I'm going to create the expression for it, and I'm going to use black and stamp the expression with VersaFine, and then use white embossing powder. And this expression is one of the many that are included in the kit and are perfect for the stamp set. This one says swinging by to say hello, so of course with the girl swinging, I thought that would be great. Now if you haven't seen what is part of the card kit, I will include a link at the top of the screen right now that will take you to my unboxing video on this kit, so you can see all the beautiful little silhouette images and so on. After heat embossing the sentiment here, I make flags by cutting approximately in the middle of the end there, and then cutting from corner to where I first made that middle slice, and that way I get nice even looking fishtail ends. So that's a little tip from me to you. So I apply this on the card using some double-sided foam tape, and now I'm going to add a few finishing touches. Here is the little chipmunk that I think is cute up in the tree, watching the little girl having a great time, and then I'm putting on the final touches here with some silver and blue sequins. And that will finish card number 1. All right, let's move on to card number 2. And I thought it would be fun to show you a watercolor resist technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is prepare a piece of cardstock here. Well, really what it is watercolor paper that came in the kit. You get 4, I believe it's 4 sheets. And I'm starting off by just using some water brushes and applying a few different colors. So at the top I'm using the purple, then I move to blue, and then at the end I'm going to switch to green for the bottom. And what I'm creating here is kind of a little base for some people to be on. So they're on the grass, but then you have the sky and kind of this purplish tinge in the background as if it might be toward the end of the day. So that was kind of my intent as I was making this. And I'm using very intense and bright colors to begin with. And it looks like kind of a big old mess, but it's okay. You'll see why in just a few minutes. Now because I'm kind of impatient, I went ahead and used my heat gun to dry it out so that I could keep moving. And once I felt that it was dry, it was time to do some stamping. So what I'm going to do is set up a scene with a little girl and a little boy. The boy is riding his bike. The girl is going to be pulling a flag, or sorry, not a flag, but a kite. And so I'm using Versamark here and I'm going to apply it twice because I want to make sure I get a good application of the Versamark. And also, you know, the watercolor paper has a bit of texture, so I wanted to make sure I got a good coating of ink there. And this is going to be really hard to see at first, but you could see a little bit there, the silhouette with the powder. And then I'm going to heat emboss this, and you'll see that you can make it out through the sheen. You see there? Yep, so you can see it. And then the next thing I will do is put in some grass using the same technique. And then after that, I'm going to use the kite and place that so that she's holding it. So as I mentioned, this is my first 10 cards, 1 kit video, and I would love your opinion, guys. I am really struggling with, number one, should I break this into 2 videos like I've done, or should I just do one really long video and show you all 10? I think I could do all 10 in about 30 minutes. Otherwise, I have to split it into 2 and show you a 15-minute of each, or I could even split it into 3 and do about 8 minutes each, or maybe 8 minutes a piece. So please let me know what you prefer to see. Would you rather get it all done in one sitting, or would you prefer shorter stints of this kind of work? I'm really going to leave it up to you. You guys tell me, who are watching this, what you most prefer. I'd really, really appreciate that, and hopefully you will too in the end. So now you can see that I've finally applied the kite here, and I'm heat embossing that, and that's going to be the last stamping I will do for this point in the card. And you can see there in the reflection what I had. Now I'm going to wet the whole thing down again, and this is where the magic starts to happen. I'm going to take a baby wipe and start wiping off the coloring. And you'll see that now all of a sudden my silhouettes start popping out really well, and that's because the heat embossing has trapped the darker watercoloring underneath, and as I wipe this off, it's lightening up, and therefore these silhouettes show up. So I thought this was really a fun technique. Now what I did after that is I cut out a panel using a die, and it has the stitched edges on it and the scallops, so I like that. And now I'm going to put on a sentiment here, and it's going to be very shiny. I actually used the silver heat embossing powder that came with last month's kit, and this sentiment says it's the little things that count. And I really like this embossing powder. It's glittery and metallic all at the same time. It's really fun to work with. So I was pretty happy with that panel. Now I'm going to put that on a bigger panel of this kind of very light blue. And then I made a gatefold card with 2 1/4 inches on each side and 4 1/2 in the middle. And then I'll be able to apply my panel right on the top, but only on the left side. And this way it'll open on the left like a normal card, but yet has that gatefold feature to it. I put this a little bit towards the top so I had a bit more room at the bottom. And then for the final touches on this card, I used a set of sequins that came in a prior My Hero kit, I think maybe August. And so I applied that here and there in the corners, and then I'm using some Duck Egg Blue Nouveau drops also here and there just to accent it. And that finishes up card number 2. All right, we're going to move on to card 3, and in this case I'm going to show you how I use the stencil that comes with the kit. Now this is called the Tree of Life kit in general, that's what they named it. And so this tree is a big feature not only in the stamp set but in also this stencil. So what I decided to do was to use a few different oxide distress ink colors here and applied them one by one from the bottom up to the top. The colors I used started with Peel Paint, then Wilted Violet, then Broken China, and then finally Fossilized Amber. And I applied this as much as possible pouncing it rather than rubbing it because I didn't take the time to spray the back with repositional adhesive or anything. And I also don't really care if there's a little bit of color that ends up outside of the lines because I'm not that picky about it. I think these are homemade cards and they don't need to be perfect. If they were, I'd go and buy them at Hallmark, right? So anyway, that's my theory on it. Now I applied on top of that some Bo Bunny glitter paste, and this color is called Sugar. So it's just a iridescent glitter paste, and applied that all over the top, and I'll wipe off the excess before pulling that off. And what it did was created a really pretty glimmering embossed and blended tree here. So I was really pleased with how that turned out. Now I'm applying that on a piece of light violet cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this with a simple message. I'm using one of the small tree boughs and the sentiment Happy Thoughts, which came in the kit. By and large, you'll see that I use only things that come in the kit, along with some common things you might have in your stash, some basic shape dyes, some inks, and so forth like that. And this is because I know for myself, when I buy a card kit and then I watch people do things with it and they buy all the add-ons, I feel kind of cheated because I can't make those things because I didn't buy all of the pieces with it. So let me know if you feel the same way and would like me to kind of stick with just the kit, or if you'd like me to add the add-ons to the demos as well. Now, after I got this simple sentiment on here, I heat embossed it, and I just wanted something very simple so that it wouldn't take away from the beautiful tree. And then once that was done, I applied that to a pink card base, and my card was done. All right, we're going to move on to card number 4, and I'm going to use the Tree of Life stencil again. I really like this stencil. It's really hard for me not to use it in every single card, actually. I just really like it. So, but in this case, I'm using black oxide ink to pounce again the pattern of this stencil into white cardstock. We're going to make it be a silhouette using black, white, and gold. The next thing I'm doing is I've taken the pear stamp from the kit, and I'm applying Versamark with this stamp where it will fit in the lower branches, and then using gold embossing powder here and then heat embossing it. Now this kit is named the Tree of Life, and the tree is highly featured in this kit. And if you look up in Google the Tree of Life like I did, you'll find that the Tree of Life is a very, very old symbol going back millennia, and often is a tree with fruit and butterflies within it. And so the kit has a butterfly, oddly enough. I'm sure that was on purpose. And so I've taken that, and I'm going to be stamping the butterfly all over the place to act as a filler for this tree and to give it a little bit more movement and interest as well. So you'll see these going everywhere, but I just don't think you can use enough of them. They're just so pretty, these little silhouettes of the butterfly. The next thing I'll do is stamp the sentiment, and this time I'm choosing Thinking of You, and I'm going to heat emboss this with Versamark and gold embossing powder as well. Now I should mention this card is a 4-bar size card, so it's a little bit smaller. 4-bar is 3.5 wide by 4 7/8 tall. After the sentiment is heat embossed, I add here just a few more of these pretty little butterflies to fill in. And then finally I'm going to add some additional bling. And I strategically place these sequins particularly in areas where I had a few small smudges from using the stencil, so nobody is the wiser. And then I applied this onto my my light lavender card base, and boom, that is card number 4. For the 5th card in this series, I'm going to again do half of a tree on an A2 size card this time. And I'm using the stamp set, and the first thing I do is put in the trunk and then start adding the branches. And I just made sure that my branches are about the right height for for the swinging girl image I'm going to put in it. I put these 4 branches in, and I didn't like the 3rd one, so I switched it out with a little bit bigger tree, and I think that was a good choice because it looked a little odd before. So I'm going to ink all this up now and then apply it to the tree trunk. And I just made sure by inking it up a couple times that it was nice and dark. Now I didn't get quite close enough to the main trunk in these couple of branches, so I just took a black pen and fixed that. And now I'm going to put in the grass at the bottom of this scene. This is a really nice grass stamp that came with the kit. I can see using this a lot and in the future. It's just really versatile, and it's cute because it has some butterflies at the bottom of it and so on. And then once again, I use my black pen to just make sure that the edges of this are not white but black as intended, and then I finish stamping up the edge where It wasn't quite long enough. Now I'm going to put in my little girl that's swinging here, and I'm going to cut right into the black stamp image a slit so that I can put both of the swinging chains here, or the rope, whatever it is, into or underneath the tree branch here. And that way I've got a nice finished look. There's no raw edges sticking out anywhere. And then, like I did with the other card, I'm going to put a piece of foam tape just under her butt basically, and it's going to make her look like she's actually swinging out of the picture that I've created, or my scene. And so that adds a lot of interest to the card. Then I'm going to put the attentive dog who is watching the little girl and wishing that he could get on her lap and go swinging too, I think, by the look of his silhouette there. But obviously a very loyal dog. And then I'm going to stamp a sentiment, and this one says, "Thank you for the beautiful moments." It's really a nice sentiment. And I'm going to do the same as I did in an earlier card where I use the black cardstock, stamp with Versamark, and then use the white embossing powder. And don't forget to apply some anti-static powder so that the white embossing powder doesn't stick all over where you don't want it. Now after I heat embossed that, I used a die from my stash to cut out this pretty rectangle, and then I also used another die to trim down the panel so that it was smaller than the A2 size. Then I'm using some of the green ribbon that came with the kit. Remember, this was wrapped around the kit itself, and so I'm just reusing that and applying this to the panel so that there is more on the right side showing than on the left side, just to give it, again, a little bit more balance and interest. And then I'll be able to slip my sentiment just slightly under the little girl there, like so. And then the finishing touch here will be a ribbon, or a bow actually, on the top that I had previously tied. And that finishes off card 5. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you liked the cards and it gave you some inspiration. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and then also let me know, do you like the short videos or one long video? And do you want to see add-ons or not, as a general rule? Thanks for joining me. See you soon. But until then, keep crafting. Bye.